Hello everyone and welcome to Slipjoint Sawyer. Today we'll be taking a look at a vintage Victorinox Swiss Army knife, and this one was a gift from my good friend John over at Thrifty Kniffy. Wonderful channel. If you're not subscribed for whatever reason, please go and check out his content. Got some wonderful sort of case knife reviews, really unique Swiss Army knife reviews, and he's just done a full-length restoration showing us how to do the step-by-step of how to clean a dirty Swiss Army knife. Really would recommend that. It's about 40 minutes long, but it is very relaxing to watch, so please go and check him out. I will put the link to his channel in the description below. But let's take a look at the knife. So he sent this one over with a bundle of knives, and this is a vintage Fisherman. Now the Fisherman is a 91mm model, which is about 3.6, 3.7 inches closed. Now the model number for this is 1.4733.72, and that little bit extra at the end, from what I can work out, is because it has got the inlaid shield on the front here being the fish. So this being a vintage one, there's a couple of different bits and pieces compared to a modern one, and we'll sort of go through those throughout the review. And you can see this is used, so you've got the Cellidor scales, although they are scratched up. Honestly, I think when these are used and you get them in used condition, as long as they've been looked after very well, are absolutely priceless to me. I love getting the older ones. You can see we have the inlaid Victorinox shield up here, and as well as that, the inlaid little fish down here. Well, fish merman looking thing. Now the newer ones, this fish is printed on, but you can feel this one is inlaid. So I really wanted to get an old one with an inlaid fish on it, because I think that's some absolutely phenomenal work that they do at Victorinox for that. Now the Fisherman is a 4-layer design. You can see there 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll start with the externals and we'll work our way in. So on the front you get the tweezers, you get the keyring, and on the back you also get the toothpick. Now a couple of characteristics on this, you can already tell it's an earlier one. So you can see the punch or the reamer or the awl does not have the sewing eye. Now the sewing eye was introduced in 85, I believe, so you can already tell this one is before 85. And then we also have the Phillips screwdriver on the back with no file, but it does have, you can see there, the can key. Now that really helps us date this, because this Phillips was only used between 1973 and 1983, from what I can work out online. And then with the tang stamp, adding that all together, the tang being 76 to 86. So this ended in 83, the tang stamp is 76 to 86. And so that makes this between 76 and 83. And that's, some people might not think that's vintage, but for my age, it's an older one. It's definitely in that sort of retro vintage sort of time. Wonderful snap on that, those tools on the back as well. Front layer then, you get the can opener. You can see the nail nick on there and the little flat-headed screwdriver on the end. And you can see we still have a really nice edge on this can opener. Apologies, a little bit of oil leaking out. I did have to lubricate this before the video. It just been in the ultrasonic cleaner. Left-hand side then, we have the cap lifter with the wire bender and the large flathead screwdriver. And this being sort of pre-80s, you get the no half stop on that, which honestly is my preference. Now I know the one with the half stop has more benefits than having no half stop, but I'm a big lover of a cam tang, and for me that just becomes, you know, it fits in line with the rest of the knife. They're all cam tangs on there, so it's really nice to have an old one that fits that in. We also get scissors on there as well, and you can see this is in older style, so you have the screw pivot on there. We do have the double leaf spring, and these, for the age of the knife, was free when they arrived. There was nothing sort of holding these back. Now you do have to be careful with the little screw on these, that it can sort of work its way out after, you know, quite a bit of use. But a little tip I've found is if you put a little bit of nail varnish, you can put a dot on there and it just holds it in, because, you know, it's over the edge. Or you can put a little bit of Loctite on there and leave it a little bit loose, so you still get the pivot movement on there as well. Next up, we have the fish scaler with the rule and the hook remover. Not entirely sure why they ended up putting the, you know, the rule on this as well. But I mean, if you're going fishing, you're not going to be that impressed catching a 3-inch fish. So I'm not entirely sure why that's on there. And then on the back, of course, you get the 7.5, 7.7 centimeters, which works out at about 3 inches. See the scaler on there. Not sharp, but enough to get scales off a fish. and that hook remover tool is very useful for getting hook out of a fish's mouth, because that can be very annoying to get out, especially with your hands. Next up then we have the main blade. Now this, when this arrived, it did have a little bit of a bend on the end, but I have repaired that. You can probably just about see the 2 or 3 little hammer marks I had to do to get that straightened out. But you can see from the blade now there's no bend. It's pretty much dead straight. Maybe a tiny bit, but it did have a little tiny bit of a lean to one side, but it doesn't take much to sort of bend this steel as long as you're careful with it. But the blade length, we have tip to tang of 1 to 2.75 or 2.7, and then a cutting edge of, where are we, about 2.4 inches. So very world legal, very UK legal. Now I do know some places don't allow a carry of a knife unless you have an exact reason for using it, like work. In the UK though, you're allowed to carry a knife under sort of that 3-inch blade length without a problem. So I have no issue carrying these daily. I mean, I carry a Victorinox Swiss Army knife every day. The tang stamp then, we have Victorinox with the small V, Switzerland stainless rostfrei, so the 4-line. And on the back then you have Officer Swiss with the crossbow touching the bolt, which makes it that between that sort of 76 to 86 range. But of course, counting in with the Phillips on the back, we're able to work out that it's 76 to 83. They put a nice edge on this as well. You can see it's nice uniform all the way around, because this one will see some pocket time at some point. And then on the back we get the pen blade. Again, I put a nice little screaming edge on there. See that polished finish with the nail nick. And then the blade length for this, we are right about, let's do it upside down, it can be a bit difficult with this one. We have 1.6 inches with a 1.5 inch cutting length. But again, that blade is nothing. We're about a 5.5 to a 6 on the pull of that. And the main blade is about a 5.5 to here. And you get the snap on the open being about a 6. Overall, really impressed with this one, and John, thank you very much for sending this over. I did have a Fisherman, but I did not have a vintage one, and I mean, John, you know how much I love the vintage ones, especially with these older tang stamps. So just, I know there's no real difference. Obviously this one's got different tools on, so there is, but some of the ones have older tang stamps, there's no difference to the tools, but I just prefer to collect the older ones. But there we go, guys, that is my review of the Victorinox Fisherman. This is a 76 to 83. That model number again is 1.4733.72. Please be sure to like, subscribe and ring that bell for notifications, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out. Matt's got a gentleman sharp as a blade. Slipjoint Sawyer is the name he made. Pocket knives until they flow with flair. Restorations done with craftsman's care. Rusty steel polish bright in his hands. Old souls revived with a steady glance. Views keep climbing like a jagged peak. One shot rhythms, hammer sparks they speak. Slipjoint Sawyer grinding through the night. Pocket knives gleam under flickering light. Matt's got the touch, man, turning steel to gold. Every story cut deep, every piece sold.